Jehovah's Witnesses from around the Treasure State gathered in Helena today for their yearly 3-day convention.
Here at home, Jehovah's Witnesses are back in Bakersfield for their annual convention after a 3-year hiatus due to the COVID pandemic.
A 3-year break because of the COVID pandemic. A large convention is returning to the Ford Center in downtown Evansville. The Jehovah's Witness Convention will take place this weekend and next weekend.
Nearly 5,000 people are here in the Macon Coliseum for the Jehovah's Witness Convention.
3 taon din na hindi na isagawa ang malalaking mga asambleya o konbensyon ng mga Jehovah's Witnesses.
What in the actual is going on around here? Hello and welcome back to the JW Thoughts channel. My name is Wally and today we are looking at the convention, but something slightly different from the convention. And that's because I was vacuuming yesterday and I just sometimes let YouTube just play in my ears for whatever, and whatever random thing comes on, I just listen to it. And the random thing that came on was a news organization doing a promo piece for the Jehovah's Witness Convention. And I thought to myself,
what in cousin fucking tarnation, Alabama Betty Crocker, Miss fucking Betty White shit is this?
Hundreds of Jehovah Witnesses from all over Montana and parts of Idaho filled Pacific Center for this year's Jehovah Witnesses Convention for the first time since the pandemic. Over 1,000 Jehovah Witnesses are expected to attend, and this year, for the first time, it's been hosted in Helena for this convention.
We're ecstatic to be here in Helena. It's been 4 years since we've last been able to be together in person for one of our conventions.
So I wanted to start with this one because it is a little bit personal for me. This guy, Eric Larson, his name is public. It's on YouTube. It was on national or local media. So there's no one being doxxed here. But him and his son and his family were some of my best friends. I used to go over to their house all of the time, probably once a week, once every other week. Yeah, I mean, his son was in my wedding, so that's how close we were. And when I was leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses, as I've probably said a few times, I made a list of all of the people that I was like, they are probably going to get out of the organization, or it's perplexing why they haven't left yet. And he was at the actual top of the list. He was the very first person that I thought of when I was like, well, who surely couldn't be a Jehovah's Witness because they are just maybe too switched on, too analytical, too critical, too intelligent, smart to buy any of this crap. And he was literally the first person I ever thought of. He is not a dumb person. He is very smart, and having hundreds of hours of personal contact with him, I can tell you he is a very smart person, and it never made sense to me. I don't get it. It never made sense to me. So seeing him here doing this sort of solidified something that I think a lot of people wonder, is it your mental ability, or is it your indoctrination? Is it your emotional connection to the organization? And it's probably any combination of those things, but I don't think that you can just look, because I did that right when I left. I made that list right when I left the organization. And now, having been out for a while, I can see it's not about how quote unquote smart someone is. It's not how analytical they are able to be, because there is this barrier. There is a block in people's minds where they say, I will not think about these things. And the truth lies on the other side of that. And their personal truth, the truth that they've been fed by the organization, lies on the other side of that. And their minds, for whatever reason, refuse to go past that barrier.
And this is actually our first convention in Helena, and we're just thrilled to be here.
For the members attending, like the Young family, they're excited to be back together after years of holding the convention online because of the pandemic.
Smiling faces, everybody's happy, and it's peaceful, and it's just great doing this in person.
Jehovah's Witnesses practice a form of Christianity, and this year's theme for the convention all over the world is to exercise patience.
Let's face it, we can all use a little more patience in this day and age. So we're focusing on increasing our patience in all aspects of life, relationships with coworkers, with family, so that we can really improve those relationships and make a more positive impact on society.
The Young family felt that it was an important theme this year, and to be more mindful about exercising patience after the convention in their everyday lives.
So the entire reason I actually wanted to make this video, when it comes down to, hey Wally, why did you want to talk about this? It's because of how, even in a promotional piece, trying to be positive about the conventions, everyone looks bored. They had the shot to the lady that was just like side profile.
The Young family felt that it was an important theme this year.
And they kept that in there even in the promo piece, because when you look out at the audience, they all look completely miserable. And it is a good indication of what it's actually like going to a convention. Now, in this next one, I think it highlights it actually perfectly of just how miserable the conventions are.
This year, it's all about exercising patience.
37 congregations, a little over 1,000 volunteers.
Macon Jehovah's Witness Convention spokesperson Edward Blair says COVID kept the convention from coming to town for a few years, but now they're back and better than ever.
And last week we averaged about 4,500 per day.
That's almost 1,400 people filling seats over the three-day convention, and Michelle Wilkins is one of them.
I'm third generation Jehovah's Witness, so my mom was a witness. She was actually baptized when she was pregnant with me.
Wilkins says she has come to every single convention since she was 7 in the 70s.
You get all the information. It's very encouraging. Everything is Bible-based. I've met people from all over the world and have enjoyed association with them.
Wilkins says you get to hear people speaking, watch educational videos and movies, and she says Saturday is special because folks are getting baptized.
I'm being baptized today.
Out of 42 people taking the plunge, Sarah Clemens is the oldest at 79 years old. She was shedding tears of joy.
It means everything to me. It lets everybody know that I'm going to do this. I'm going to dedicate my whole life to God.
According to the U.S. branch of Jehovah's Witness, the convention is projected to bring in almost $5 million worth of revenue through food, retail, lodging, and other costs.
I just want for people to really look at what's going on out there in the audience. They look slumped over, sad, depressed, completely miserable. And this is the truth of going to a convention. This is the actual reality. When you just get shots of them during the program, not when they're clapping. If you look at JW propaganda, they always show when everyone is clapping. And okay, the camera's on, everyone start clapping. And they get the scrolling shots of that. But they never will show you what it's like in reality. And this is what it looks like. Everyone is slumped over in their chair. They're tired. They're trying to not fall asleep to the very best of their ability. And it is just so completely sad.
This will be the 17th year the convention will be held in Evansville. Back in 2019, the Convention and Visitors Bureau said the event brought in more than 10,000 worshipers to downtown Evansville. This year's convention theme is Exercise Patience.
We have a lot of volunteers. They've driven for hours, in fact. So attendees will be coming from Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, and Illinois. And they've all volunteered their time to come here to help set up for the convention.
There will be 700 different conventions all across the country in 35 different languages.
I find this interesting how in about all of the ones that I saw, they were really highlighting how it was good for the local economy, because Jehovah's Witnesses were coming with thousands of people, in some cases 10,000 people, all attending the convention. So In almost all of these, they highlighted that aspect of it. And I just think that it's a good marketing strategy. If you are Watchtower, it's not like you can point to anything else that you do that's good for the community. So what can you point to? Well, we bring a lot of people together that might go out to local businesses to eat or stay at their hotels and things like that. That's about all they do for the local economy, which in fact isn't something that Watchtower is doing. Watchtower isn't actually actively helping and committing funds to help communities. All they do is tell people, hey, you need to show up here. And that feeding you guys, that's back in the 70s and 80s. We don't do that anymore. So go and fend for yourself. So you can house yourself, find lodging for yourself, you can find food for yourself, and that helps the local economy. So I feel like it should be the people being highlighted for contributing to the economy, and the Watchtower, the Jehovah's Witness organization, should not get credit for adding to the economy, because what have they actually done other than tell other people to go somewhere? I mean, maybe that's a bad take, but that's just how I see it.
The Exercise Patients Convention kicked off today at Mechanics Bank Arena. The local convention is one of 6,000 held worldwide. The Jehovah's Witnesses held virtual conventions during the pandemic, and local spokesperson Phil Sanders says they are looking forward to being together in person again. 6 sessions will be held to explore the quality of patience, highlighting its modern-day relevance through examples in the scripture. A baptism will be held tomorrow, and the convention, which wraps up on Sunday, is open to the public.
I feel like we have to acknowledge how empty the seats look. I've never been to a convention in my life that had this many empty seats. Every convention that I attended was packed, was absolutely maxed out. There was hardly any empty seats. We even had to get creative where putting seats in places where we didn't actually intend to at the beginning when we were setting up, especially on the floor. The floor seating was always maxed out because it was more comfortable. The seats actually had cushions and you had a little bit of legroom. So you would have grandma and then her entire family of 8 were all sitting with her, because that was the big brain strategy. If you wanted to be comfortable during the convention, you would go and sit with your grandma or grandpa, and the whole family would sit with them. Or just, we want us all sit together. And most of the attendants really wouldn't do too much about it, even though Watchtower didn't like that and they were trying to make it easier. Shout outs to them for trying to make it easier for people that maybe had a harder time sitting on hard chairs and stuff like that. But irregardless of that, the seating arrangements at conventions was always super cramped. I don't ever remember a time when I had an open seat next to me at a convention at any point in my life, ever. There was always just max capacity because there was just that many people. So seeing all of these empty seats just warms my heart. It is like chamomile tea and honey on a Sunday late afternoon when you're going to go to bed early or take a little nap. It is absolutely beautiful.
It's me, Paul Amadeus Lane, and I'm so delighted to have you on this very special report that we have for you today. Patience. When you hear that word, what comes to your mind?
Ow, 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 ow. When's it gonna be my turn? Ow, ow, ow.
Maybe it's something that you need to have more of. Maybe there's something that you would hope that a family member would have towards you.
I'm trying, damn it.
Tear it.
I tried to tear it from the side. I can't get a good grip here. You gotta do it like a bag of chips.
No, here, give it to me.
You wait a second.
Just
wait a second.
Give it to me.
Yeah, it's amazing. We actually go back over 100 years being here in Southern California having conventions. Back in 1909, the maybe 100 to 200 Jehovah's Witnesses that were here, they rented the Trinity Auditorium in Los Angeles, and it had about 1,000 seats. And so they advertised out, they invited ones from the neighborhood. And on the opening morning, they had standing room only. There was a line going out the door, down the block. So many came that they had to repeat that program the next day just to accommodate all that wanted to listen.
This is the state of the organization now. Going back over 100 years in order to tell you how packed their conventions were, when we look in the modern era and it's just like a big, massive stadium that can hold 20,000 people, and they only have 5,000 to 7,000 seats filled. So they're like, well, let's talk about how it used to be back in the good old days in 1909, when we used to really pack the house. And boy howdy, that is what the Jehovah's Witnesses are all about. We can fill up a stadium, bring in all sorts of income to your town. But you look at it now, and it's just a lot of tired looking older people that have been waiting for Armageddon their entire life. They have had their hopes and dreams as a youthful teenager come and go, watch their kids grow up, move out, leave the witness organization, have to shun them, and now they're in their 70s and 80s, and they're just look tired and sad. It's amazing to me that even in their efforts to promote the conventions, it just comes across as pathetic because they don't have anything to promote. And the whole convention is talking about exercising patience. It's reinforcing this idea that you need to sit around and wait for your entire life for a promise that may or may not come true. And if it doesn't, if that promise doesn't actually come true, they'll just say, well, the joke's on you. You were reading too much into the things we were saying. You seem to have wrong expectations. We never said the end would come. When on so many different occasions, they quite literally gave a time frame that the end would have to come during. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what happened to my video footage. It got corrupted and I didn't have any audio, so I'm having to do a little bit of extra here, editing Wally style, and obviously you guys will notice I recorded this a while ago because I still had the background. But anyway, with all of that being said, if you're still around, don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you are enjoying this content. We will be getting back into more convention videos in the next couple days. With all that being said, stay safe, be kind, and don't forget to smile. And you better have a good-ass day.